What is going on, guys? My name is Tim Roswick, and today we've got more game design videos because I love talking about game design. I love talking about the actual specifics of designing games. And one of the things I thought we'd talk about today is the hidden tutorial. I have never been a fan of tutorials. I have never been a fan of, going through tutorials. I'm the guy that kind of skips a tutorial and usually end up dying or destroying myself or whatever it is in whatever game because I refuse to go through the tutorial and like have it say press A button to jump, do this, and it's so slow and it's so boring. So I hate tutorials. But there's some games that do this really, really well, and they build a tutorial into the game. They make it to where you learn the controls, they slowly introduce things, and it makes it fun, it makes it interesting. So I wanted to show you guys an example of a hidden tutorial in my game, Phylophobia, and kind of what I did to walk the player through some of the controls and how all the stuff works and how it works. So if we go to my screen real quick, I'm going to show you the very first level of Phylophobia. So you fall down into the depths. And the way that this works is, you're just here. You don't, there's no controls, there's no button to tell you what to press, there's no nothing. I just put the player in this little place and he's got to figure out what to do. Now, eventually, they're going to figure out that they move with the arrow keys or WASD or the controller, joystick or whatever it is. They're going to figure out that they can move. They're also going to figure out that they can jump just from their knowledge of every platformer in existence. So this little obstacle is designed to make sure that they know that they can jump, because you cannot get past this unless you jump. Now this second obstacle right here, you can't get past this if you do a regular jump. If you just tap the jump button, you won't be able to get by it. So this teaches them that they have to hold down the jump button, because the only way to get over this is if they hold down the jump button. So they learn that little bit right there. Now, this doesn't seem like it's that complex, right? This is just like two boxes. That's it. It's a straight little. Oh, you guys can't see it. Let me let me pull this up so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is the bigger box right here. My big fat head was in the way. So you can't jump over this at all unless you hold down the jump key. Now, it just looks like two boxes, right? It just looks like two little boxes. But it's really powerful in terms of player progression because they can't get past these obstacles unless they learn those controls. So right here, they're stuck right here until they learn that they can hold onto the jump button and actually get there. So when they go in there, notice that the door was unlocked, first of all. And now here's another obstacle. They cannot get past this thing. We'll go full screen again. They cannot get past this unless they learn how to crouch. And on a controller, on the keyboard, whatever it is, it's normal controls. It's WASD, it's arrow keys, it's joystick on the controller. So it's really easy to figure out that they can crouch. It's gonna happen automatically by accident. And I put this through to 20, 30 different testers now, and nobody has had any issue with this. So it teaches the player really quickly that they have to do that to get through. So once again, this is a super simple level. Nothing can kill you anywhere. You can't die. And then you go to the end of the level. So here, I introduce the key. And you notice this little door right here is locked. You can't do anything. You can't go here. But what do you see in that same frame? You see the key. And there's no audio on this build right now, so you guys can't tell the audio cue. But there's an audio cue when you pick this up to let you know that everything is fine and dandy. And if you've got the key, what are you going to do? There's nowhere else to go in this level except to go here. And then you realize that it unlocks the portal and you're good to go. And this is the first place. This is the first place where you can actually die. So 3 levels in, on the 4th level is where you can actually die. That was an invisible tutorial. And I go a step further in this level, even though they've learned all the mechanics already, because that's really all the mechanics there are in this game. I teach them that keys can be hidden. Because like right here, this entire section is hidden because of the Phylophobia mechanic. So this is mechanic specific. This isn't necessarily general to all games, but they learn that when they go here, that little section is hidden. So they have to kind of search around a little bit, even though it's pretty obvious. And go under this little crevice and go through here, and then they find the key. And then they learn they can crouch with the key and so on and so forth. So they can learn a couple different things through this tutorial. So it's really interesting. And this is the first level where I introduced this little pickup guy right here, and he's kind of in a hard to get spot. This little collectible, but you can do it, and it just takes a little jumping skill. Most people don't actually get it on their first try. I played this game a lot, so I did. But you know, the jumping skill can be it takes a little while to learn in this game. So I introduced that. I introduced the elements one at a time, progress sequentially through the level, and then this level is just making sure that they got their jumping down. It's a lot of jumping. It just teaches them jumping. So that's the whole beginning of the game. And you notice there's no text, there's no instructions, there's no anything. But this game is designed specifically to walk them through all the different controls that they need. And your game can do that too. Obviously, the more complex your game, the more harder it's going to be to build something like this, to build an invisible tutorial into the game. But it can be done. I've seen it done in shooters and all kinds of really complex games. But I just feel like text and like telling the player something, it never works because so many people like don't even read it. I don't even read text when I play games. I just go through and I try and like brute force it and figure my way out. And like that's why I prefer systems like this, because they cater to my play style. They operate how I think they should operate. And you need to keep that in mind, that the player's going to have their own agenda. They're going to have shit going on in their life. They're going to be getting phone calls, text messages, Facebook notifications. Like, keeping track and reading a bunch of text in your game to learn how to play it is a really bad design move. So invisible tutorials like that are extremely important. And I think it's a really great design choice for a game. And this is how I did it. There are a lot of different ways to do it. If you want to look at like Super Mario Bros. Or any of those different games, those are great examples. Super Mario Brothers especially is a fantastic example. There's a lot of games that have these, and they're starting to get smarter and smarter and smarter. Mobile games are starting to do this, introducing mechanics one at a time, introducing controls one at a time. And I just feel like it's a better way to design. So that's how I try and do most of my games. It's something I could improve on my mobile games for sure. But for the PC game, I definitely wanted to take extra caution and like make sure that the invisible tutorial was there, so that players could play it and kind of learn the whole thing as they went before they jumped into it. Because when I first showed the testers the level, one of the hardest levels in the game was level number 3, and I wasn't thinking. I was just like, here's test all these levels, testers. And it created such a problem. Like, so many people had a problem getting through the level that it was ridiculous, because the progression just wasn't there. Little things like this make a big difference. Little tiny things where it's just you walk the player through mechanics and how the jumping works and how the running works. Because keep in mind too, they're getting used to how the movement works, how the physics work. They're learning all that, not just the running and jumping and control scheme. They're learning all the other intricate details. So this stuff is really important. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave me a comment and a like and all that shit down below. If you have any questions on this, leave them down below for me as well. I'd be happy to answer them. But once again, I'm Tim Roswick, and I will see you tomorrow.